Stakeholder means workers and community. There's no economic reason, economic principle that says that a corporation has to work solely for the benefit of shareholders. In fact, you can read in the business literature that you could just as well have a corporate system in which the stakeholders are the ones who are involved. And in fact, they can move in and take over, as happens when you get real worker community ownership. There's various intermediate means, like a co-determination in German enterprises gives the unions a substantial state part in degree of decision making. I mean, it's limited, but something.
Does that include the community? I mean, to the extent that the unions are
it's not community there, it's unions. But it can just well be community. You know, once you have worker ownership, workers live in the community, and that already begins to lead to community involvement through the families, the friends, the associations, the neighborhood associations, churches, whatever it could be. So it's kind of a matter of degree. But wherever you have real worker ownership, that's going to happen. There's, of course, one huge example. That's Mondragon, which is both, I don't want to say it's utopia. There's a lot wrong with it, but it's a major, very successful conglomerate, production, finance, hospitals, schools, housing, and it's owned by the participants, workers and communities. There was a big sit-down strike at a Chicago enterprise, Republic Windows, a couple of years ago. The conglomerate wanted to close it. Workers sat in. They finally managed to keep it. Now they've taken it over.
They had purchased
They were able to. The conglomerate or multinational, whoever it was, just wanted to get rid of it. They were able to buy majority shares. It's now worker-owned. And I was just in Ireland recently, and there was a big sit-down strike at a plant, Vita Cortex it was called. And when I was there, I was able to meet with the workers who had led the strike. It got a lot of community support. People in the community were bringing in food and so on. It was some rich businessman wanted to close it. They didn't win everything, but they won a lot from the sit-down strike. For them, it was a kind of a victory. I mean, there's no kind of algorithm, that you can just apply. It depends very much. Everything depends very much on circumstances. Say Castro.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it was violence to a mass-based. First of all, there was plenty of popular support. The guerrilla movement extended the support, and it overthrew a dictatorship.
So popular support is probably a good component.
It's critical, and also if it's defensive. So take, say, El Salvador, the FMLN. There's been a guerrilla movement that really developed after vicious repression, and people have to defend themselves, so they use violence and self-defense. But again, there's no simple rule that you can apply. You have to look at the situation and see what's legitimate and what isn't.